It's a Christmas edition of Locked On Packers as we get you set. Packers, Vikings, Zhao, you doing? Lily Zhao with us. Let's do it.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers, the #1 Packers podcast on the internet, and the show for fans who know what happened, they want to know why, and how. Thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day, especially on Christmas. And right now, new customers can place $5 and get $250 in bonus bets at FanDuel if you win that first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Lily Zhao on the show today. We will get to that in just a second. Some injury news to update you on as the Packers move forward here. Luke Musgrave came out of Monday's game, seems to be okay. Christian Watson, just a bruise. Nothing serious. It sounds like he's going to have the opportunity to play against Minnesota, but the Packers do have some decisions to make when it comes to how they want to handle a game that, frankly, doesn't mean a ton in the grand scheme of things because, and just to lay the scenario out, if the Packers win on Sunday in Minnesota and the Lions win, then Week 18 Lions-Vikings means nothing. Nothing. So the Vikings can get that win and the Packers are stuck in that 6th seed, even if they beat the Bears. So that's the unfortunate position where the Packers find themselves right now. They're going to have some decisions to make on how they want to play all of this. My assumption is they're going to try and win, but we will see. Less promising injury news. Evan Williams got hurt on a Saturday walkthrough, which is just an unfortunate situation. They said they're hoping they get him back for the playoffs. A week, 2 weeks. He's played enough that I think it's okay. And I think it has to be said, Zane Anderson, when he had to come in when Evan Williams left the Lions game with a concussion, played really well, had an interception, almost had another one on Monday night. And so I think you can feel pretty comfortable with Zane Anderson in there. This is a defense that has been terrific. We led the show with it on the Tuesday show, the recap show. And so I can't say enough about what Jeff Hafley has been able to do with this group. Keyshawn Nixon moving outside. Carrington Valentine and Eric Stokes played probably their best combined game of the year, which is a fitting way to do it when they're rotating the way that they are. And then you're getting the pass rush is absolutely destroying teams right now. This is the version of the pass rush we thought we were going to see the whole season. And Edgerrin Cooper just gives this team a different edge, a different speed element, a different playmaking element. It kind of hasn't mattered who's out there. And that's a testament to Jeff Hafley. And that is something that Brian Flores, their opponent this week, can do. Just kind of take whoever's out there and make it work. That's what the Packers are doing right now. Second best in defensive DVOA since week 11, this team right now. Third in DVOA overall. This is one of the best teams in the NFL, this Packers team. I believe they are better than Minnesota. The question is going to be on motivation. The question is going to be on what are they playing for? Is pride enough? Can they get as locked in as Minnesota needs to be? Is that an advantage for them? For the Packers to not have to deal with the pressure of, hey, we have to win to keep the 1 seed. Now, you'd like to stay out of the 7, but players don't really care about that stuff. They're not like, oh, we don't want to play the Eagles. No, I bet this Packers team they want that Eagles rematch. They think they should have beat that team by 2 touchdowns. I promise you they think that in that locker room. So they're not worried about like, oh, we want to go play the Rams because they know, by the way, how good the Rams are, how good they can be. That Rams team without Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp gave them everything they could handle in LA. Came back to make that a game when it wasn't a game at first. So you'd like to be the 5. You'd like to go to Atlanta and beat the daylights out of Michael Penix and the Falcons. But that's just going to be a long shot at this point. That's how it feels anyway. If you're Matt LaFleur, you can't let the team know that or can't let the team internalize that. We'll see if they're able to do that. Let's get to our conversation with our pal, Lily Zhao from Fox 6 in Milwaukee. It's the holiday season. I won't sing, but Lily Zhao has brought lots of toys for every good girl and every boy who's listening to Locked On Packers. And as we have to answer our annual Christmas question. How you doing?
Peter, I am glad to bring some Christmas and holiday jolly joy to Locked On Packers. It's a privilege, and I'm happy to do it. I wore my festive red, so it's a fun time of year. But I'm doing well, especially after that Monday night win. How you doing?
I'm good. Excited about all of the food that I'm going to consume over the next 48 hours or so, and make. I do a lot of cooking around this time, so there's a lot going on here with the kids, and we got in-laws here, but we're having fun. We're enjoying all of it. I got a white Christmas, so that's all anyone can really ask for, right? So speaking of a not so Merry Christmas for the New Orleans Saints, who get blanked on Monday night, I think there is going to be, especially if you're a cynical fan, an impulse to say, well, it's the Saints, it's all these backup players. It doesn't really matter that much. How much do you think it matters?
I think it matters a lot. Obviously, they did something that no NFL team has done this entire season, which when I heard that, I was kind of shocked that no other team in the NFL had been shut out this year.
I was shocked.
I was very, very shocked, especially this late in the season. You'd think at least one team pulled a shutout win, but the Packers are the first team this year to do so. And so that is never easy against any NFL team. And I will say, like, at the end, I was thinking the Saints might just kick a field goal to get something on the board, but the Packers still kept them out, and they never even got close to being a scoring threat because the closest they got, they turned the ball over twice. So it was a special win for Green Bay. The way that they did it at home, a Monday night game, all eyeballs on them against an opponent that could have potentially upset them had they probably not been as injured and way better. But the way that the Packers won and got the first shutout win of the year, I think is a big deal. No matter if you say, oh, the Saints are injured, they allowed 0 points. That's a big deal.
Yeah, look, the ifs and buts do not resonate with me. Like if my brother were a monkey, I'd be a monkey's uncle. You know what I mean? Like it's silly to even traffic in some of that stuff. All that being said, is you're trying to find takeaways. I think some are more relevant moving forward than others. Is there one that stands out to you in terms of a player or something that the team did that makes you go, yeah, even though the level of competition, understanding the stakes and all those things, this thing stands out as something that can really be important moving forward? What is that one thing, if anything?
I don't think this thing is surprising. I think you have two things, but this first thing is not surprising. I think it's Josh Jacobs. I mean, again, you want a power back in these cold conditions. He has more than answered the call. He was flexing and stiff arming and breaking tackles on Monday night and just proving that he was just a phenomenal pickup for this Packers team in the offseason. He's doing what he was brought here to do. And I think on the other end of that, you hear him talk after the game, just how appreciative he is of being in Green Bay, just to have the opportunity to make the playoffs, because when he was in Vegas, he didn't have that opportunity. And so, I think, we are spoiled in Wisconsin. The Packers traditionally make the postseason, but other players don't get that opportunity. So you love when guys like Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney relish the chance to get to play at least one more game past the regular season. So I would say Josh Jacobs really just put on a show on Monday night, and then, Packers let him rest in the second half. And then I would say the other guy probably would be Edgerrin Cooper. I know we've always talked about him, but I mean, goodness, the rookie just flashes his speed. He's everywhere in the field, and he is so fun. And I think, again, we've talked about it, but when he's on defense, that's the best version of that defense for sure.
Yeah, no question about it. This defense since week 11 has been the second best defense in the league by DVOA. They're now top 10 in all those categories. Let me ask you, we're not playing a game this week, but let me ask you, like, we thought Jeff Hafley would be an upgrade over Joe Barry. And I think there was a case that for the way Green Bay wanted to use the running back position, Josh Jacobs was going to be an upgrade over Aaron Jones. But which unit, whether it's this defense or Josh Jacobs, that delta is more surprising to you that they've been as good as they have been this year? Because as you were talking about Josh Jacobs, I was like, man, I kind of can't believe he's been that good. But I feel that way about the defense too.
I would say the defense, because again, this is nothing to knock Josh Jacobs. I just knew he was already a talented back coming in. Yeah. And so he just has really played.
It's just a lot to ask him to be Aaron Jones.
Correct. But I do love the fact that they went from a guy like Aaron Jones to a guy like Josh Jacobs, like two quality human beings who are both really good at the position. And Josh is doing exactly what he was brought to Green Bay to do. But I think what has been surprising is just this defense. And I think we've always just known that, okay, Green Bay, they're known for their offensive play. The defense is kind of that X factor of, can they get this team deeper into the postseason? And it hasn't really come to fruition in the last decade, but this is a defense that I think has a lot of potential, and Jeff Hafley really deserves a lot of credit for putting his guys in the right position, the scheme change, and you see guys like Brenton Cox Jr. taking the most of his opportunities, playing well after Preston Smith leaves. Edgerrin Cooper, you see these rookies shine. I think whenever Evan Williams comes back, he's going to have that same opportunity as well. So I think this defense really has surprised me this year in a good way.
More to come here with Lily Zhao next on Locked On Packers. The playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up that dub. I love betting player props on productivity, over, under, passing yards, for example, or receiving yards. I hit on Lamar Jackson over the weekend, hit on Patrick Mahomes over the weekend. How many points will each team score? I hit on the Chiefs over the weekend and the Ravens over the weekend. You can bet on not just who will win the game, but to score or how many points. Whatever, if you can think of it, there's probably a bet on FanDuel for it. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Yeah, I asked Evan Williams about this last week because I was like, look, no Javon Bullard, no Quay Walker, no Jair Alexander, and you guys are playing like this. Like, does it occur to you that you can be even better? And he's like, oh yeah, like we know that we can be an even better version. And without, looking too far into the future, this team next year, when Evan Williams is in year 2 and Edgerrin Cooper is in year 2 and Javon Bullard is in year 2, and who knows what the secondary looks like, but more time for Brenton Cox and Lucas Van Ness, like, this defense could be scary, and maybe they will be in January. Maybe they will be toward the end of December. Let's sort of move the conversation in that way, because they have this big game with Minnesota. I want to spend more time talking about Minnesota than New Orleans for obvious reasons. This is a team where the Vikings are still playing for something meaningful. They can get the #1 seed. They can still win the NFC North. The Packers can't. They're really playing for pride at this point. Is that something you think is relevant, that delta? Like, does that matter, do you think?
I think so. And I think a lot of people are saying, well, it doesn't matter if they win or lose. They're in the postseason. It's a matter of seeding, and, you're not going to play the Vikings. And, so what is there, even if they do lose, it's not a big deal. And I was, true. But what I want to see, though, is I want to see this Packers team compete, because, again, you look at their path in the postseason, it's going to be every game on the road in hostile environments, and their losses, Eagles, Vikings, Lions, are to the teams that they want to beat eventually in the postseason. So let's prove we can hang with Minnesota. Let's prove we can, maybe beat them in their place, to say we're going to go into the postseason hot. So while I think a lot of people are saying win or lose, not a big deal, the Vikings still have obviously more to play for with that top seed, I don't think this is a Packers team that's just going to lay down and say, oh, well, I think they're playing for pride. I'm sure they want to keep the Vikings out of that conversation for the top seed as well. And I think this is a team that also wants to prove they can hang with the best in the NFC.
If this game were being played at the Rose Bowl, let's say it was college football bowl season after all, who would you pick?
It's a tough pick. Still going to go Packers. But, I think the Vikings they're a tough out. They're a tough out. And what I like about this team with Minnesota is the fact that they've remained healthy. Sam Darnold has just found ways to win for them. And they have that clutch gene, which I think comes into play in the postseason.
Yeah, it's so annoying. God, it's annoying.
Win all these close one-score games, and, that's just kind of been in their DNA the last couple of years. But, can you imagine if this was like a Rose Bowl environment, though? Just what that atmosphere would be like?
Fun.
It'd be really cool.
It'd be fun. It also makes me kind of wish that this game, that US Bank was outside. Like, remember, I don't know if you do remember Minnesota, when they were building US Bank Stadium, they played at the Gopher Stadium in the University of Minnesota. And there were a couple games that were just like the coldest I've ever seen a football game. And like this would have that kind of feel, right? Like it would be frigid, freezing cold. There's something like, I feel like these marquee NFC North matchups are just more fun when you get that.
Yeah.
But All right, we're not going to get that. Okay, so this Packers team, it seems week 4, Lily, like, was that in 2022 that game happened? Like, it seems like week 4 was forever ago. What about the Packers that has changed do you think is the most impactful to this matchup?
I think the fact that they're taking care of the football and they have a kicker.
Yeah, 3 interceptions in that game from Jordan Love.
Correct. Missed kicks. Talk about that now. Just how different it would be. The Packers.
Did you see the video of Brandon McManus after the game, by the way?
I did not.
So Matt, there's like those post-game locker room, like Matt LaFleur, rah, that whole thing. And he's fired up. Brandon McManus with a 55-yarder, and Brandon McManus. It was like he might as well have been Romeo.
Oh, yes, that video. Yes, sorry, I did see that. Yeah.
Where he's just like, yeah, it's like, that's what I do. So this is not difficult. Like that just is so refreshing for the Packers right now with the kicking game.
It is. And it's nice knowing that you can get your offense to a certain point on the field and know that it's a for sure 3 points because your kicker can get you that. And it was awesome seeing him hit that 55-yarder on Monday night. And so I think, you play clean football and you have a kicker. I think that's going to be a big difference for this Packers team the second time they do play the Vikings.
Did you feel like, I want to get to the Jordan Love thing in a second, but did you feel like Matt LaFleur attempted that 55-yarder just to see, just to kind of be like, I know we don't really need these points, but like, let's just see McManus in the cold, a long field goal. Let's just see it.
Why not? And I did think I read a report somewhere pregame where someone said that he was knocking in 57-yard field goals. So I don't know if it was the win. I don't know what it was, but he was having success pregame. And so why not? Why not test your kicker in a game where, okay, if he misses, it's not the end of the world, but you do want to test his range. And I do like the fact that it could have been 55 plus from how he kicked that field goal. So why not test him? And then he's been so clutch this year for Green Bay, and another big acquisition from Brian Gutekunst.
I don't know if he's on beta blockers or what, but it was so funny. Like, even after he made the 55-yarder, just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if he dapped up the holder. It was just one of those things like, yeah, this is just like, this is whatever. It's like I saw the meme that was the, what's the Ben Affleck, Matt Damon movie? Oh my God. I'm so silly.
Good Will Hunting.
Yes. Oh my God. I can't believe we didn't get that. That's embarrassing for us. But that was the movie that I was talking about. And I could see it. I could like watch scenes in my head from it. But it does seem like that's where Brandon McManus is right now, which of course, all of this, we're going to heap all this praise on him and he's going to miss a 45-yarder for the win on Sunday. Someone's going to clip this and go, oh my God, I can't believe it. The Jordan Love difference. Number one, they're getting Toyotathon Jordan Love. And number two, he's healthy. And I don't know that we can overstate the difference that it makes that he is healthy. And even so, they put up 400 yards of offense on what might be the best team, the best defense in the league. And so how much do you think they're going to want to lean on Jordan Love? Because they had to in the first game, but they had some success running the ball. Like, if they had perfect game script, what do you think the plan would be in terms of how much is going to be Jordan Love and how much is it going to be Josh Jacobs?
I think it might be a balance, to be honest. And I think, obviously when Jordan played Minnesota the first time, he was coming back from that injury. So right. Like you mentioned, was not 100%. And we have seen just his mobility improve, and that has helped the passing game. And of course, just kept defenses on their heels because they're not sure if he's going to pull it and run or if he's going to run out of the pocket, throw a dart down the field. You don't really know what you're going to get with Jordan when he is fully healthy and able to have that scrambling ability. But I don't think we can discount Josh Jacobs and just obviously the balance he's brought to this offense. I think at one point in the game, they had the same amount of rushing yards as they did passing yards. And so this is an offense that prides itself on being balanced. And I know it's kind of a run-first offense, but as we all know, if you can run the ball, that opens up a lot of passing opportunities. But I think against the Vikings, though, they're going to have to pass the ball because this is a Vikings team that can put up points and they can score very quickly with Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson. So maybe you do lean on Jordan. And what I just have liked about his play in the second half of the season, like we've talked about, is just protecting the football. And he was even asked after the game yesterday if he made a conscious effort in that first half against New Orleans to protect the football. And he certainly did. And I just think it's been impressive protecting the football and also having a little bit of luck there, right? I know that pass that was batted up and almost caught. That would have been a cool pick for the Saints, but have some luck on your side, but also play some winning football by protecting the football. That's
in the first half of the season, that was getting intercepted. That was the kind of luck he was having, where every tip Like, come on, the Vikings game, 2 Packers had a chance on one of the interceptions off Luke Musgrave's hands, off Romeo Dobbs' hands, and somehow ricochets right into the hands of a Viking. Like, he was getting some bad luck in there too. But to your point, the last time these two teams played, Josh Jacobs had success early on in that game. He had 9 carries for 51 yards in the first half, 5.7 yards per carry. He was having success. And we've seen them. They want to get Josh Jacobs those touches early. They want to set the tone early. And I just feel like Josh was asked this after the game yesterday, or on Monday, excuse me. What is different? And I know you asked him a couple weeks ago about what is different in the red zone. And now his answer this time was identity. We found an identity, and their identity is kind of as ass kickers, right? Like they have changed the identity of this team. And I feel like if you went back and told, what was your first year on the beat?
Oh gosh, 2015.
If you had told 2015 or certainly like 2016, Lily, that this team was going to be a power run team and they were going to be nasty and physical and hit you, you'd be like, okay, cool. Like what are you talking? How many spotted cows did you have? And now that's who this team is. It is remarkable that in just a couple years, they've been able to fully reinvent themselves as this smash mouth physical team.
Yeah, and I think that really was on display against the Saints, right? You had Jacobs different.
Really the last month.
Right. I mean, the running backs are running really hard. They're hitting guys. You have Tucker Kraft, who has no problem popping a defender. You have these guys that, I know fans call them psychos on the team because of the way that they play. And that's been fun to watch. But yeah, it's a very physical football team. And I think they kind of take it from their leaders on the team.
Yeah, feed the psychos. That's Tucker Kraft, Josh Jacobs, Jaden Reed. They are the psychos of this team. I think we're close to adding Edgerrin Cooper because he posts the Halloween meme, the Jason it's crazy what he's been able to do too for this team. All right, still more to come on a Christmas edition of Locked On Packers with Lily Zhao. Today's episode is sponsored by Prize Picks. If you love watching the game, you're going to love Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. Whether it's football, basketball, or any of your favorite sports, Prize Picks makes your holidays bigger and brighter. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Yes, 1,000 times your money. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away over $30 million in rewards during Picksmas, offering 2 free picks in December. And when your picks hit, Prize Picks makes it easy to cash out. You can get your money in as fast as 15 minutes. 1,000 times your money. 1,000. Download the Prize Picks app and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play that first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly. When you play that first $5 lineup, you don't even need to win it. You just need to play it. Prize Picks. Run your game. And thanks for making Locked On Packers your first listen. Now for your second listen, go find Locked On NFL. Now with 2 shows every day. First, the madman Tyler Rowland kicks off your morning with a double shot of NFL espresso. Then stop by the barbershop with Tony Wiggins for some real NFL talk. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts. This game, okay, do you think the Packers need to win it just from I know playoff seeding, there's not a ton on the line for them. They can win this game and still be the 6th seed because if the Lions win this week, then week 18 basically doesn't matter. And the Vikings could be a 14-win team. And you're like, how are they? They're the 5 seed. So it kind of doesn't matter if you beat them. So how valuable do you think this is for the Packers? Understanding that it is really just like vibes only. That's why they need it.
I think when you say vibes only, why not? Why not just say vibes only? And that's it. And I think, again, this is maybe just a good gauge for Green Bay to say, again, can we hang with the teams that probably will be one of the last teams standing in the NFC race? So why not say, can we go into their house this late in the season when there's something on the line for them and kick their butt and see if we can do it, or at least try to? I think the vibes only thing can go a lot further than, maybe we here think, but the players probably are thinking, why not? Let's go to their house. They did it in our house. That's what.
Yeah, to a team that you were down 28-0 to, that plays in your division that you freaking hate. That adds a little bit more juice. Like if this were the Eagles,
correct.
I feel like it would be easier to say, look, it doesn't really matter. Like we're going to see them again anyway. I feel like the fact that this is the Vikings and like they really don't like each other. The fan bases really don't like each other. I feel like there is so much juice in this one that they're gonna bring it. And let me build on that by asking you this: the best team the Packers have beat this season is who?
That's a good question. Let me look at their schedule.
This is the problem. When you go through the schedule, you say the best team by record that they've beaten is the Rams, but that team had no Cooper Kupp and no Puka Nacua.
Correct, because I'm like off the top of my head.
Now they beat the Texans. The Texans are 9-6.
Correct.
But are the Texans does anyone think the Texans are that good? No.
No.
And the version of the 49ers that they beat, not particularly impressive.
No.
I mean, I guess the Colts have a chance to be in the postseason.
Yeah, the Miami and Seattle.
Miami and Seattle have a chance to be in the postseason. This is why this is interesting. If you're Matt LaFleur, I feel like you have to spend the week going, we need to prove we can beat a good team. Like if we want to win in the playoffs, it's beating the Saints 34-0. That's nice. That's fun. We haven't proven we can beat anybody good. Let's go prove it. Let's go, let's spread some Christmas cheer in Minneapolis and beat the crap out of this team. That's got to be the message, I feel like. And we'll learn a lot. We'll learn a lot about what this season means to this team by what we see on Sunday, I think.
I agree. I think if they can get a marquee win on the doorsteps of the postseason, that's going to do wonders for these players, the morale, the vibes, as we all know. But you're right. Why not go in there and get a marquee victory and prove that we're one of the best teams in the NFC? I think that'd be a great Christmas present for this Packers team if they could do that.
Okay, let's say that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the 49ers lose to the Lions this weekend, and the Lions say, maybe we'll just play Jared Goff for like a quarter in week 18. How does Matt LaFleur play this? Not what do you think he should do? How do you, I asked this last week, but we're getting closer and closer. And now these scenarios are getting realer and realer. How do you think Matt LaFleur wants to play this? I liked your answer, by the way. Last time I asked you, just to refresh the audience's memory, you said, ask the players. Let's see what they want to do. Because that matters too. If they want to go out there and play, let them play. So how do you think Matt LaFleur wants to handle this?
I say, why not play your guys for the first half, and then after that, pull them. Because at least they're getting some reps. It's not like this is a team they've been world beaters. They can drop 50 points, and they're sitting at halftime already. But I think why not give your guys a good half of football, and then in the second half, sit them if you want to, or if they want to. But I like the fact that Matt LaFleur was able to sit Josh Jacobs in the second half, get him some extra quarters of rest, right? So maybe it's changed now to let's play them, but rest them rather than sit them the entire game. But you're right. Who knows? Maybe they want to sit these guys the entire game or play the whole game. Not sure, but I'd say maybe at least see a quarter or two from starters.
I think where I have landed at the moment, and I reserve the right to change my mind on this.
Me too.
Is if you are borderline to play, you sit, right? But if you're healthy, you play for at least a couple series. Like if you want to treat it like a preseason game, fine, but prepare like you're going out to win the game. And who knows, they might beat the Bears with Malik Willis anyway. So, I mean, they're still going to want to go out there and try and compete. So I think this is why the NFL, by the way, wanted to have division games at the end of the season, so that even when these games mean quote unquote nothing in the postseason, they still mean something to these players. Although it looks like the Bears might have just quit on their season. So anyway, we will never quit on Zhao You Doing. We will be back here next week to do this all again after the Packers hopefully convincingly beat the Minnesota Vikings, but we'll see. Lily, Merry Christmas, and we will talk to you very soon.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, everyone. And thanks, Peter.
All right. Thanks to Lily for joining us on a Christmas Locked on Packers. Thank you for taking your time on your holiday to spend some time with us. Crossover Thursday coming tomorrow. Luke Braun from Locked on Vikings. Is it going to get contentious? Is it going to get heated once again? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see if Luke behaves himself. We'll see if he's wrong again. We'll see. That'll be coming tomorrow. And then our Friday show, TBD. We'll see how we come out of the crossover. If there's still some lingering points that I feel like, need to be made, some matchups that we need to discuss, that kind of thing. Maybe we get an interview to do some of that. We will see. Follow me on all the social medias, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram. Ditto for Locked on Packers Add those three plus TikTok. And then, of course, the podcast, wherever you get podcasts, go subscribe to us. Go subscribe, leave a rating. That'd be great. And over on YouTube, where we'll be live after a 4:25 Eastern time, America's game of the week, 3:25 Lambeau time, and 3:25 US Bank Stadium time, I suppose, as well. And we're going to be live after the game, so you can stay locked on Packers.